The Australians finished the first day at 8 for 299, and a lot of people I'm reading actually saying this should be like a 500 plus pitch. And when you're watching this, it doesn't really feel like any of the batsmen feel safe and secure out there. There's obviously a lot of guys got out in sort of the 30s, 40s, 50s there, and that just shows the type of pitch where you never really feel in. And we really need to reserve those 500 plus pitches for in Australia when there's absolutely no movement in the air, there's no movement off the wicket, it's nice true bounce, and really you're seeing players play shots on the up, very comfortably going for those shots and not worrying about nicking it or anything like that. You look at the majority of the boundaries in this innings and they were short outside off, or they were half volleys or a guy coming down the wicket to Ali, something like that. Or the ball was straight onto their legs, basically, is where we saw the majority of runs in this innings. Apart from, Mitch Marsh plays a little bit on the up, similar to that of like Crawley with a couple of his cover drives. So at 8 for 299, it definitely is a little bit under where the Aussies should be, or they should be like 5 for 299, but it's not that far off. And you look at WinViz has Australia actually to 37% win percentage there. So they think that this is going to get actually a little bit harder to bat. There you go. 550 just seems like a massive, massive stretch. But let's shout out firstly to Chris Woakes, who came out and absolutely dominated again. And again, just proving my theory that he should have been in this test team from game one. 4 for in this one. He's gone 3 for 3 for the first, his first test in test 3, and then goes 4 for in this one at 2.74 and over. It was only James Anderson, who I said should have a pretty decent impact in this test match, that went under his economy rate. And we can't discount that. That's very, very important. And Stokesy actually spoke about this in the pre-game when they asked about James Anderson back in this side. And not always is it his wicket-taking ability that gets them over the line or gets them in a really, really good rhythm in their bowling innings. It's when they're bowling in partnerships, and Anderson is great at that. Obviously can tie up one end, and they're a little bit worried, the opposing team's batsmen to play certain shots against him because he gets it moving both ways and hits a nice length. So it showed in this one that 2.5 and over for him allowed the other guys to work around him. Brody went at 4.8, but he was the one to take the wickets. Woakesy went a little bit higher at 2.7, but he was the best bowler on the day. Woody went at 3.75, and Moeen Ali went at 3.8. So that partnership there of those two, and obviously the wicket-taking ability of Brody, and then Woakes doing his thing, was really, really good for them to get in a good position here against Australia. And you wouldn't say this is a failure at all. You look here, though, at the scores, and as I said, the highest score there of 51 from Marnus and also Mitch Marsh, and then you have a 48 from Hevitt, 41 from Smith, and a 32 from Warner. So that's, five of the top batsmen in this side, in the top 7, top 6, I should say, that got to great starts and weren't able to go on with it. And that just proves my point there about you just never really feel in, and any ball can kind of get you here. There were some mistakes, and we'll go through them now. David Warner, 32 off his 38. So came out obviously fairly aggressive. A lot of his shots there, he was jumping and kind of, fending outside the off stump. He did nick one through the slips. A bunch of them were sort of like mini punches, but didn't look comfortable on the offside. And then he had, his token pull shot where he kind of rolls the wrists on it and just gets it out there for 4. So again, he never really looked set in this innings, and then he eventually just poked at one off Woakesy. Didn't go all in, which was the frustrating thing for him. He'd been doing that for the most part and going hard at the ball, and this time he kind of just poked at it with the ball going away. And it's a delightful ball. If you look at it from behind, obviously a little bit of movement just off the wicket, a little bit in the air, and then as it's going past the batsman, it's climbing. So really, really nice ball from Woakesy on that one to get Warner. But Khawaja there, 3 off 19. He's been one of our stalwarts in our batting innings. In each of the test matches there, and 3 off the 19. Just wasn't able to get into it. A couple of runs there early, and then a really nice ball from Broad. Seeing back in off that angle, it's very, very hard to hit that. But we do have to have a little bit of criticism on the way Khawaja plays that shot sometimes. He just doesn't commit fully to it. He kind of keeps back in his crease. And you look at that ball and you're like, oh, it hits him in the knee roll. Why is he getting out? It's because he's stuck inside his crease. He's not coming out to the ball at all. And he does poke it a little bit outside a little bit in front of his pads, which is that issue. If it does happen to seam back a little bit, you cannot adjust at all. And you've already committed to that shot. Your eyes aren't super close to the ball, and that's where Khawaja gets in a little bit of trouble sometimes with that delivery. And why in some other countries, when a ball doesn't move as much off the wicket, off a pace bowler anyway, he's able to get away with that type of shot. And sometimes here in England, he isn't able to. And yeah, for the most part, he's been getting through great, especially early on in his innings as his eye gets in. But this time wasn't to be. Spoke about in the pregame that Marnus and Smithy needed to step up and do really well. And Smithy just batting with freedom at the moment, striking the ball very, very well. Sitting up around that 80, 90% strike rate very comfortably for the most part of his innings. And another one here, 41 off his 52. What about the pull shot first ball that almost got caught? It was pretty crazy. A nice 6 off Ali in there. So yeah, as I said, plenty of aggression, which was good. But just falling to that delivery there, it was a pretty decent ball. But he just seems to be missing some of those deliveries these days that he hasn't been in the past. And those are kind of his bread and butter balls. If you bowl it towards his stumps there, he's just going to clip you off to the leg side. And there was an interesting stat that popped up actually. When the ball's bowled at over 90 miles an hour, so he's sitting well into the the 145s from that point and above. There, in terms of kilometers, for those that aren't too sure on miles, when he's facing balls above that speed, he averages 29. When he's in between 80 and 90, so any of the quicks that bowl, sort of anywhere between the 128s kind of region up to 140. He averages over 60, which is basically where his test average is. So and then add the spinners into that, and he sticks around that 60 plus average there. And that just shows the importance of someone like Mark Wood. If he can bowl it in that area, do a little bit off the wicket, that's when you can get wickets and do a great job. So it happened again here for Mark Wood. Gets a nice wicket of Smithy, and it's just such an important one there. And what we did notice was that a couple of times here when they went upstairs and checked some of these, they're all pretty very, very close. There's an umpire's call there a little bit later. This one from Smithy, right in line with that off stump, and same with the Marnus one, just hitting in line with the off stump. And then I believe the one later on was Cameron Green with his LBW off Woakes. It looked like it was maybe going down leg, and it was just umpire's call and given out live. Helped the English there on that one. So yeah, Smithy unfortunately 41. There was a nice partnership between Marnus and Head, and they were looking really, really solid. Before that next wicket, it was 183 for 3 before that fourth wicket there, and you think they're like Australian, they're in a great position to go 300 plus pretty comfortably, and then unfortunately by that point we lose Marnus, I believe it was. Yes, Marnus at the fourth wicket at his 51 off 115, and that was very, very lazy, unfortunately, to get LBW from Moeen just from a little bit of spin, and he just went across his stumps with his front foot, and played across his pads there off a ball spinning back in, and all it takes is you to miss one, and then you're in a fair bit of strife. So unfortunate for Marnus and the Australians. This was his game that he needed to go on with it, and he was playing really well, working really hard, and unfortunately a bit of a brain snap, a bit of a lapse in concentration, and he's gone there. Travis Head, really, really enjoy watching him bat. Unfortunately for him, though, at the end there, 48 off 65, he just falls for the trap of the guy's back, and Broady gets him out off that short ball. So, also a big congratulations to Stuart Broad, 600 test wicket. So, yeah, clearly one of the best bowlers to ever play this game. The endurance, the durability of him, of also James Anderson, these guys in the pace stocks there. Absolutely incredible efforts for him and James to still be playing in the same team all these years later. Basically my whole life that I've been watching cricket, they've been playing for England. So yeah, big shout out to them. Amazing work. But I suppose not a bad wicket to get for your 600th is just set a plan and for it to come off. So yeah, unfortunate and annoying there watching that, to see him get out that way after he was playing so well for his 48. Some really nice cover drives, some nice cut shots in there. And was playing the ball off the legs really well until that moment. So yeah, that sucked on that front. And then Mitch Marsh continues his rich vein of form and hitting ball really, really well. And he was really the only one here in this middle order that you were like, okay, he didn't get himself out. He had a really delightful peach there off Woakes that just angled in towards him and just seamed away that tad. Just tried to defend it on sort of middle and off there and nicked it, and a beauty of a catch from Bairstow. People will still come out and say, oh, his footwork was really bad, that's why he had to dive. But yeah, a great catch and under pressure, and was needed because Marsh could have come out and gone big again like he did last test. So that was an awesome and big wicket for him, and left the Aussies in a little bit of trouble there when he went down at 7 for 255. And obviously a 40 partnership here before Kerry went down was nice, and that helped. But yeah, losing Kerry right at the end was a bit of a sucker punch, unfortunately, with Stark being in there, just playing really good cricket shots. He's a great batsman, and batting so low there at 9 obviously at the moment, and Paddy at 10. That is a good thing that the batting goes really low, and hopefully here Starkey and Cummins can have a terrific partnership there in this back end and get Australia well into the 300s, 320, 330 before they lose a wicket would be nice. To then send out Hazelwood and maybe put on another 10 or 15 would be great. But yeah, Kerry unfortunately nicking one there to Bairstow off Woakes again. So terrific bowling and another good one there to get Alex at the end of that inning. So a very interesting day, very topsy-turvy. England bowled really, really well. As I said, they never looked like they were able to give the Australian batsmen a sniff. You had to bat really well for your runs, and I think that's going to be the exact same when England bat. We'll see how the weather holds up. There was a fair bit of sun out on day one. Potentially, could be a cloudy or could be potential rain about for day 2 and 3. So hopefully for the Australians that there will be some overcast conditions and it'll be a little bit easier to get more out of the wicket. But yeah, for people to say there should be a 500 plus wicket when the ball is moving in the air basically the whole time. They obviously got the wicket right at the end of Carey with the new ball. So yeah, that was moving down as well. But it basically moved for at least 50 to 60 overs. Very, very, like a lot. And a little bit off the pitch as well. So yeah, to say that was a bit silly. But wish the Aussies all the best of luck for that next couple of wickets. And if you're an England fan, you'd love Woakes to get that 5 because he completely deserves it. And I imagine there's a good chance he comes out and starts the bowling here or gets on fairly quickly on day 2. Hope you enjoy that review, guys, and enjoy day 2.